Hello again. Grace chatting here with your latest episode on our series of Beyond Surviving Life with an Alcoholic. Or it can be that you're still living in the situation, or you've been in any acrimonious or difficult relationship for a number of years. And if you've watched the previous few videos, you'll see that that such a situation results in you losing your voice, not literally, but that you don't have a voice, you're being overridden, not valued, your decisions are overruled, what you want doesn't count, all of that. You feel exhausted with it. And you know, whether you've left or you're still in the situation, you really need to reclaim your voice, um, build up some trust in your own decision making, and basically reclaim yourself. And this episode, we're going to focus on, the last episode was about boundaries and setting some boundaries and learning how to hold the boundaries. Uh, and it takes a bit of courage, and it takes a bit of time as well to get boundaries in place and get the hang of it and get away from feeling guilty and fearful. And then what we're looking at now is reclaiming and rebuilding a sense of self-worth. And one of the things that I was saying, many of you have got into these relationships when you were still quite young and you didn't have a very high self-esteem or sense of self-worth, and maybe were a bit naive, immature, and like it's not a hanging offence. Many of us, certainly I, have been there. So I want to look now at building your self-worth and sense of self-esteem, because in this kind of relationship we're talking about, um, your self-esteem would have been eroded, if you were being blamed or diminished regularly. So you might ask yourself, well, who am I now? Because you kind of got identified in that back foot of a role with that person, and you have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet, and actually start to get in touch with, well, what do I actually want, you know, and do I matter to anyone? Well, the point is, you have got a voice. It just needs to come out, and it needs permission to come out, and you need to give yourself permission. And, with the support of these videos or the Rebuild Your Life group, a safe space to express your views and opinions, and learn to speak up, you'll gradually build up a stronger sense of yourself and who you are and what you want. And yeah, you've got to matter to you first. Never mind worrying about whether you matter to other people. You've got to matter to you first and foremost. So that's about self-acceptance first. These are all painful questions, but they're very profound ones. And because they mean that you're ready to rebuild. And so, for many of you, the relationship that you were in, you might have been mocked and then finally left, and up feeling abandoned, either for a bottle, for drugs, for gambling, for porn, for whatever the addiction was, and not heard, not listened to. And the erosion of your self-worth, it's not instant. It's a bit like, if you put the frog in a pan of cold water, it will sit there, and you can put the heat underneath it, and it will sit there until it's boiled to death. If you put a frog in a pan of boiling water, it'll jump out. Cold water, it'll sit and allow itself to gradually be boiled to death. And that's a bit what it's like being in one of these relationships. You don't notice how much of you gets eroded and until you lose yourself. So you have to rebuild a sense of self-worth. So how do you do that? Well, you need to begin each day by reminding yourself about your own inherent value. You at the very basic level, you matter because you exist. And that's a non-arguable truth. You were born worthy. You don't have to earn it. All of us are legitimate. Well, I actually was born in a time when they called it illegitimate because my mother was not married to my father, and I was classified as illegitimate. And that's kind of label sticks, and it takes a bit of getting past that. But you have to realize that you were born worthy. You came into this world a human being worthy to be here, and you deserve to have space, and you have to reclaim small joys, things that you used to love, whether it's walking, swimming, painting, dancing, whatever would give you joy or pleasure. I'm saying reconnect with it, get it back again. Often anything that competed for attention with our former partners, who, if they're addicts, they tend to be, pretty self-centered, and they can object to what your interests are. So and call it a waste of time. For example, if you spend time reading, or you spend time writing, or you spend time painting, or one of those things, or a dance class or yoga, just realize it's not a waste of time. If you like it, if you enjoy it, if it makes you feel good, and you're doing nobody any harm, then each stroke on the canvas is a statement. I can enjoy my life. I can enjoy reading a book in peace and quiet without somebody complaining about it. And I can pass on what I learned to other people. I can reclaim small joys for myself. So track acts of self-respect. That's an act of self-respect for me. And every time you speak up, every time you set a boundary, every time you choose what's right for you, write it down. Write it down in your journal, because these are evidence points. And if you log it, write it down, it's evidence points of you having the right to be here, and having joy and having pleasure in your own pursuits. And you do have to clear out internalized voices. In reclaiming your voice, I was saying, and I certainly find it, and it lasted for a long time and still recurs sometimes, that when I want to say something that I feel strongly about, but I'm kind of not sure, I notice myself feeling anxious. Um, uh, if I'm not sure if the person's going to like it or dislike it, or be disapproving or judging or rejecting of me, I can tend to get a bit wobbly. And I have to remind myself that I don't have to keep second guessing what somebody else is going to think or say or do about me. So those internalized voices become blocks to you reclaiming your voice, and your self-worth. And you have to ask yourself, when you hear those voices, and take notice of them, whose voice is this? Whose voice is this? And if it's not loving, it's not yours. And you can become your own abuser. You can perpetuate things that were said to you. Well, you're not much good at that. Oh, well, who do you think you are? And all those things that have been said to you, just their internalized voices, and notice them, and ask yourself, whose voice is it? And if it's not a loving voice, let it go, and surround yourself with reflective mirrors. Um, and that means like being in a community. Community matters, being in a safe community or space, like the group I've suggested to you, the Rebuild Your Life group on Facebook. You'll find people who see your value, who identify with you, who understand where you've been and what it is that you're trying to do, even when you can't, and allow others to reflect the truth of your worth to you. And finally, learn to receive. Many survivors of emotional abuse feel unworthy of kindness because they've been so not used to it. So practice saying thank you without deflecting. If somebody pays you a compliment or gives you some support or praise, don't justify it, don't diminish it, don't minimize it, just receive it, and just say thank you. And the final thing here is what might hinder that process of you developing your self-worth. Well, comparing your healing journey to others, you know, that other people recover from situations quicker than you do. Well, maybe they didn't have your childhood. Maybe they didn't have the situation that you have um, endured. And also believing that you're too damaged to be whole again. Sadly, there are a number of people who've been in the Rebuild Your Life group who have felt like their self-worth has been so low, they have felt they'll never be okay. So it's just a feeling, is not a fact. So staying in contact with people who diminish or devalue you is a hindrance. If you're building up confidence and self-worth by mixing and being around people who diminish you, who invalidate you, who make you feel small, it's best to, you know, um, take charge of how much contact you have with them. And the other thing that hinders you is shame about your past. Your past is your past. You have to accept, as I've said before, we all make poor choices, we all get things wrong, and we're souls here in this time and space on a journey, and accept what is. That was your apprenticeship. Self-worth's not about becoming somebody else or masking who you are. It's about returning to the truth of who you already are, worthy. You were always okay. You came in as a perfect little baby, and like I was unwanted and illegitimate, but I am meant to be here. I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and I have every right to be here. I have every right to have made poor choices, made mistakes, learn from it. It's the University of Hard Knocks. Um, and you know, you have to get to self acceptance, that you're worthy, that you're lovable, that you're capable, and that you are more than enough. So if you find this helpful or useful, click like, subscribe, and please leave your comments below, because like I say, I need encouragement too. And and I'll see you in the next video. In the next video, we're going to be looking at and explore how to start shaping a new life vision, one that's rooted in possibility rather than pain. So moving away from the pain, moving into all that you may be. And, you know, you've got all the rest of your life, whatever that is, to, it's, you know, say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.